After losing 7 times in a row, Barisan Nasional had a point to prove in the Bagan Pinang by-election. Never before had the ruling party endured such a string of defeats in by-elections. What more when the losses were back-to-back? Pakatan Rakyat, on the other hand, had to keep the momentum going to realise their Putrajaya ambition amidst the infighting between the coalition, which seems to be continuously reaching new levels with every succeeding month. The determined rivals entered the ring carrying with them internal conflicts within parties and between coalition partners, but both determined to write their own versions of how the play on the Bagan Pinang stage will pan out.
Shock and awe. Well, not quite perhaps, the Barisan Nasional did deliver a thumping blow to pass in the recent October 11 Bagan Pinang by-election. BN's Isa Samad overwhelms past State Commissioner Zulkefly Mohd Omar to a 5,435 majority in votes. The most shocking thing which happened during Bagan Pinang by-election is the swing of 42% votes of non-Malays to Barisan Nasional. All this happened in the midst of a shambolic state of affairs within Barisan Nasional, with internal problems brewing within PPP, MIC and most recently MCA. Malaysia Kini recently came back to Bagan Pinang to do an analysis on the phenomenon created by Barisan Nasional in the Bagan Pinang by-election by swaying 42% of non-Malay votes back into their fold. Maran Perianen reporting from Bagan Pinang for MalaysiaKini.tv.
PAS had acknowledged, however, going into the by-election that the win would be an uphill task in the face of a formidable foe in the diminutive but popular form of Isa Samad, who had been the state's menteri besar for 20 years. But perhaps what shocked both the Barisan Nasional and Pakatan Rakyat is 1. The extent of the trouncing, and 2. The shift of non-Malay votes to Barisan Nasional. There are many factors that brought defeat to Pakatan, but among the significant mistake can be attributed to a miscalculated strategy. Jiwi Kataya, the editor of Malaysia Indru, who has followed and written on Indian issues, concluded that Pakatan Rakyat deployed a wrong strategy.
All of them, from Anwar down to other MPs, they talked about these submarines bought, commissions made. They paid no attention. They said, what happened to our land? They promised to give us land title long ago. Now they say they are going to give it to us. And what about housing? Now they say they are going to give it to us.
Analysts have worked out that there was a 42% shift in non-Malay votes to Barisan Nasional. This in the midst of a leadership turmoil in the MCA and similar crises within MIC and PPP. Pakatan Rakyat's claim has been that the voters were taken in by gifts, everything from rice cookers, foodstuff and even saris, and promises of funding for the Tamil and Chinese schools within the constituency.
Bagi saya tahu kalau dulu sebab tak ada apa-apa bantuan. Sekarang mungkinlah sebab you tahu penduduk sini kan, semuanya dia dah dapat. Apa yang ada dia orang bagi. Last minute dia orang bagi. Macam tempat saya tengok last minute lampu menyala. Mestilah orang undi dia bagi saya lah.
We spoke to the PKR Vice President and Subang Parliamentarian R. Sivarasa on how effective was the national issue strategy in the campaign.
I think the other way to distinguish the 6 earlier by-elections is that they all took place in states which had some experience of what a Pakatan government would do and did do. Kedah, Penang, Perak. And that is a difference. So in others, voters were able to see, even though for a short while in Perak. Now Negeri Sembilan has never had that benefit.
Kappa Parliamentarian S. Manika Vasagam, who rose to fame by championing Indian issues, gives his take on how Barisan Nasional capitalized on their strengths.
See, all this, previously we do cultural show, and then we pull the crowd, and now the Barisan Nasional, penyokong club Barisan Nasional led by Vigneswaran, few others, they started all this.
He also stressed on the failure of the Teluk Kemang MP for not creating the bridge much earlier between Pakatan and the people of Bagan Pinang.
And you see, the problem is the MP of PKR never show his face. Tak turun padang. 1 tahun, 8 bulan. They also don't know who is the MP.
Voters living in and around the Siliao area of Bagan Pinang echoed similar sentiments.
அவங்க வந்து ஜெயிச்சிட்டு போனதால ஒன்றாவது காரணம் வந்து அவங்க ஜெயிச்சிட்டு போயிட்டு ரெண்டாவது அந்த பக்கம் எட்டி பார்க்கவே இல்லை, வரவே இல்லை.
இங்கேயும் ஒன்றும் நடக்கலை. ஓகே, அவங்களுக்கு போட்டாங்க, அவங்களும் இது செய்யலை. ஓகே, இன்னும் 2.5 வருஷம் தான் இருக்குது. திருப்பி இவங்களுக்கு போட்டு பார்ப்போம், என்ன ஒரு மாற்றம் வருது அப்படின்னு சொல்லி பார்த்துருக்காங்க.
அடுத்த கட்சிக்காரன் வந்து நமக்கு வந்து சாதகம் இல்லை. நம்ம அது கட்சிக்காரன் போட்டு கூட ஒன்றும் கிடைக்கப்போதில்லை. இந்த நாடாளுமன்றத்தை ஜெயித்தவர் நேற்று தான் இங்கே வந்து எல்லார் வீட்டுக்கு வந்தால் 1.5 வருஷம் எங்கே போனாலும் தெரியவில்லை.
Corner to corner, PAS was losing the fight to win the hearts of Bagan Pinang.
And the PAS candidate is very deplorable that he didn't go around as what is expected of a candidate, you know. He should be everywhere, seen and speaking to people. He wasn't. And the same thing happened to Teluk Kemang MP, the PKR MP. He was hardly seen anywhere, and one of the main complaints is, in fact, they told him not to come to that area because he had never been seen during the last 1.5 years.
The Bagan Pinang results bucks the trend of the March 2008 general elections when the loose Pakatan Rakyat coalition of DAP, PAS and PKR garnered huge gains from non-Malay votes. Indian voters still fresh from the Hindraf rally of November 25th the previous year especially shifted en masse to PR. This continued for almost all the by-elections until Bagan Pinang.
It was, a political surge, political awakening among the Indian community. It was the first attempt for them to stand their ground, and demand their rights. Such a political awakening, will affect an entire generation of voters. Perhaps they may shift a little bit to the BA and they may shift back. But it's more important is that they throw off this chains of dependency and are able to articulate their needs and their demands.
The trend continued in subsequent by-elections after the general elections. Indians in multiracial DAP, PKR and going under the banner of the PAS Supporters Club were present in full force, screaming Makasakti and PAS Untuk Semua under the hypnotic beat of the Urumi Melam drums. Though Barisan Nasional was expected to win, more so with a candidate like Isa who has served as Menteri Besar for 20 years, but no one predicted that the majority will cross the 2,000 mark. It is argued that the bulk of the votes came from postal votes, but no one expected the non-Malay votes to return to Barisan's fold. Comparing it against the previous by-elections, Asif Rasa calls it a local phenomenon, which is unlikely to be repeated in forthcoming by-elections.
Bagan Pinang is largely a localized phenomenon, ranging from not just the Indian voters, Isa himself, as a candidate, how despite his tainted background, despite the taint of corruption, because of his sheer immense popularity as a personality, as an individual, that he has developed a relationship with voters over many years, and that carried him through. And that's very much a localized phenomenon. You won't get that in other seats.
Nevertheless, every politician, strategist and analyst did conclude that this by-election result serves as a clarion call to Pakatan to wake up from the slumber, stop the infighting and bickering and work harder to win the support of the people.
But I think it's still a long way to go. There are a lot of fundamental issues at stake. I think that if Pakatan Rakyat can deliver the goods in Penang and Selangor, the voters will consider a significant shift. So really their performance in Selangor and Penang will be critical, more so than what perhaps they say in Parliament as an opposition party.
Okay, kalau janji-janji itu tak dikota macam mana?
Mesti cepat aja. After 2 years lagi apa? Tak lama. Kita tahulah apa dia dapat besok. Sama juga. Apa yang dia janji patut dia kota. Itu aja kita janji pada dia orang.
Will this by-election result serve as the wake-up call for Pakatan Rakyat? We will have to wait and see at the next by-election, if any.